And thanks for staying with us here on Breakfast Central. The United States Congress is considering a bill that could impose sweeping sanctions on 12 northern Nigerian governors, top judges, and traditional rulers over alleged complicity in what American lawmakers call a Christian genocide and systemic persecution under Nigeria's Sharia and blasphemy laws. The move follows President Donald Trump's designation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern, CPC. Trump, in a post on Truth Social, accused Nigerian authorities of allowing the killing of Christians and warned of possible military intervention if the situation persists. The Nigerian Religious Freedom Accountability Act of 2025, sponsored by Senator Ted Cruz, mandates sanctions under the Global Majesty Human Rights Accountability Act. Now, those found culpable would face visa bans, asset freezes, and not forgetting to financial restrictions. But let's tell you some more.
Meanwhile, the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, held an emergency meeting with service chiefs and security heads in the nation's capital, Abuja, yesterday. Security sources say the meeting focused on assessing the security and diplomatic implications of Trump's remarks and preparing a unified national response, according to reports. The NSA urged all agencies to strengthen intelligence coordination and reinforce Nigeria's sovereignty.
My people, listen up. This one is huge, and it will touch every corner of our national life. Right now, lawmakers in the United States Congress are moving on a plan that could lead to sanctions against as many as 12 Nigerian governors and other officials over alleged violations of religious freedom. This is not small talk. We are talking about visa bans, asset freezes, and serious diplomatic pressure that could affect Nigeria's image, our security cooperation, and everyday lives. If you care about Nigeria, please like this video, subscribe, and stay with me. I'll walk you through what this means, what could happen next, and what we, as citizens, should watch for. First, what's happening at a glance? U.S. lawmakers have been debating measures aimed at holding individuals accountable for alleged human rights abuses, especially those tied to religious persecution. The proposal under discussion would give U.S. authorities the power to identify and punish officials believed to be responsible, directly or indirectly, for violence, discrimination, or failure to protect vulnerable communities. In practical terms, that often means targeted sanctions, blocking entry to the U.S., freezing any assets under U.S. jurisdiction, and limiting certain kinds of cooperation. This level of pressure moves the issue from diplomatic complaint into legal consequence. Like this video, if you want balanced updates on this as it develops. Why is Congress considering this now? There are three parts to that answer. First, there has been renewed attention in Washington to religious freedom concerns worldwide. Second, voices inside and outside the U.S., including advocacy groups and some members of Congress, have been persistent in pressing for action over a pattern of attacks in parts of Nigeria. Third, media coverage of violent incidents and reports from civil society have added momentum. Put together, these factors mean the U.S. is no longer content with rhetoric. Some in Congress want legal tools to respond. If you agree this matters, tap the like button now, before you jump to conclusions. Let's be clear about the possible targets and scope. Reports speak of governors from several northern and central states being named in drafted lists that accuse them of either tolerating violence, enforcing discriminatory local policies, or failing to protect minority populations. The lists may also include other public figures alleged to have a role in enabling abuses. At the same time, It's important to remember, draft reports and social media lists are not the same as formal designations by the U.S. government. Treat unverified lists carefully. Subscribe if you want me to post verified names and reliable sources as soon as they are officially published. What would sanctions actually do to these governors or officials? The immediate effects are practical and painful for those targeted. Visa restrictions prevent travel to the US. Asset freezes can lock up bank accounts or properties tied to US banks, and reputational damage can reduce their ability to travel, do business internationally, or engage with global partners. For Nigeria as a country, targeted sanctions can strain bilateral security cooperation, reduce investor confidence, and complicate diplomatic talks. That means ordinary Nigerians, businesses, students, communities may feel ripples from actions taken in Washington. If you care about national image and security, press like and keep listening. Let's talk about Nigeria's official posture. The government in Abuja has consistently pushed back against the narrative that there is a state-sponsored genocide. Officials say the situation is complex. Nigeria faces multiple security challenges that cut across ethnic and religious lines: banditry, insurgency, communal conflict, and these are not always straightforward cases of religious persecution. The presidency and the foreign ministry have been clear. They reject blanket labels and insist on investigations and facts. Expect strong diplomatic pushback if formal US action moves forward. Share this video so more Nigerians follow the official response. Now, how do Nigerians on the ground see this? Reactions are mixed and highly charged. Some citizens, especially those in affected communities or civil society groups, welcome international pressure, arguing it might force accountability and better protection for victims. Others, particularly political supporters of targeted governors, view this as foreign interference in Nigeria's sovereignty and politics. Social media is loud. Some call for calm and verified facts. Others inflame tensions. My call: demand evidence. Ask for investigations, but avoid panic. Comment below facts and calm if you agree. We must also consider strategic consequences. Nigeria and the US cooperate on counter-terrorism, intelligence sharing, training, and development aid. If relations cool, those areas could suffer. Intelligence cooperation is especially sensitive. Partners rely on trust and routine contact. A sudden diplomatic freeze or reciprocal moves could hamper operations against insurgents and criminals, and that would be felt by communities who already live with insecurity. So the question becomes, can we hold wrongdoers accountable while preserving essential security partnerships? That's the hard policy puzzle our leaders must solve. Like the video if you want me to explore security consequences with expert guests. Next, the legal and practical path to sanctions. In the US system, Congress can pass laws that authorize sanctions, but often the State Department and Treasury play the role of identifying individuals and carrying out measures. What that means for the Nigerian case is twofold. First, Congress can push a strong policy. Second, the administration decides how to implement it. Implementation usually involves investigations, evidence gathering, and formal notices. It is not instantaneous, so watch for official announcements and for lists published by the State Department or Treasury, rather than rumor. Subscribe so I can bring you those official updates as soon as they appear. Let's walk through 3 plausible outcomes and what each would mean. Outcome: A. De-escalation and dialogue. Washington issues strong statements, demands investigations, but Nigeria responds with clear, verifiable measures to protect minorities and to investigate alleged perpetrators. The issue cools without major sanctions. Positive result: reform and cooperation, minimal diplomatic damage. Outcome: B. Targeted sanctions. The U.S. designates several officials for visa bans and asset restrictions. Relations become tense, but critical security cooperation continues with caution. This creates domestic political fallout in Nigeria and pressure on targeted states. Outcome C. Wider escalation. Sanctions spread or are followed by additional measures, and Nigeria responds in kind or seeks alternative partners. The relationship deteriorates significantly. This outcome hurts Nigerians most because security and economic ties could suffer. If you want a deep dive into each outcome, type "deep dive" in the comments. Now, what should Nigeria's leadership do immediately? I'll list practical steps that would reduce harm and protect our national interest. 1. Open independent and transparent investigations into any credible allegations. 2. Publicly communicate findings and steps being taken to prevent further abuses. 3. Cooperate with international partners where appropriate while protecting Nigerian sovereignty. 4. Engage community leaders in affected areas to reduce tension and promote reconciliation. 5. Push back diplomatically, but with facts and evidence. These steps show seriousness and can help avert harsh measures. Like this video, if you want me to draft a simple template citizens can use to ask their lawmakers for accountability. What should citizens do? First, stay calm. Second, demand verified information. Do not spread unconfirmed lists or incendiary claims. Third, call on our leaders to act. Insist on investigations, protection of victims, and transparent reporting. Fourth, push for long-term solutions that address land, governance, and security gaps that often underlie communal violence. This is not about scoring political points. It's about protecting lives and preserving our nation's standing. Type "I stand for facts" below if you agree. We also need to recognize the human cost. Behind every allegation are people who have lost loved ones, homes, or security. Any policy response, domestic or international, must keep victims at the center. That means credible compensations, security guarantees, and healing programs for affected communities. International pressure, if applied, should aim to protect people, not punish the innocent. If you want a follow-up episode featuring victim stories and civil society voices, hit like now. Let me be honest with you. Politics will play. Some politicians will use the U.S. move to stoke domestic divisions. Others will use it to push for reform. Both sides will claim victory or victimhood. Our responsibility as citizens is to demand truth and restraint. Do not let foreign policy debates morph into intercommunal attacks at home. Call for measured responses. Share this video to remind friends to act responsibly. Quick checklist of what to watch in the next 7 days. 1. Formal bills or statements from the U.S. Congress or State Department. 2. Official reaction from the Nigerian presidency and the foreign ministry. 3. Statements from the governors named or from state governments. 4. Civil society responses and verified human rights reports. 5. Any immediate diplomatic steps, calls, recall of envoys, or emergency briefings. I'll follow each of these and bring clear updates. Subscribe and turn on the bell so you get the facts first. To close this segment, remember 5 takeaways. 1. The US is moving from critique to possible legal tools. This is serious. 2. Sanctions, if applied, would target individuals and could have real consequences for travel and finances. 3. Nigeria must respond with facts, investigations, and calm diplomacy to avoid escalation. 4. The lives and safety of citizens are the priority. International measures should aim to protect victims. 5. As Nigerians, push for transparency, peace, and rule of law, not panic. If you agree, write peace and justice in the comments. The story is still unfolding. Do you want me to continue and prepare a deeper follow-up where I map reported names, explain the legal frameworks Congress might use, and bring in voices from both Nigerian and US experts? If yes, type "continue the gist" and I'll prepare part 2 with sources, timelines, and what each likely scenario would mean for security, economy, and daily life. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe so accurate information reaches more Nigerians. Stay calm, demand facts, and let leadership act with clarity. Because this moment requires both courage and wisdom.